Hello everyone and welcome to Tranquility Through Life's Natural Beauty, and this is the Friday Friendship Club where all awesome people come together. This is a symbol of our Friday Friendship Club where we link together in friendship and say hello to everyone. So a big welcome to you, and what are you going to do to make today great? Now, on my last live, there was a little issue with StreamYard that's cropped up again. I'm watching you on a teeny screen, so I can't see anything very well. So do excuse. It did suddenly, I noticed on my last live, I suddenly realised I was back looking at the full size screen. It's not the full screen. I know how you can click onto that. But because I do all these little intros to each of my segments, I can't have the full screen up. But the standard set of StreamYard is a standard set size, and that's disappeared. And then on my last live, I suddenly thought, yes, I'll watch it back as I always do watch it back. And I think it was after I played a little clip. And then I think, oh, it was suddenly big again. So we'll see today, because we've got the Friday film show coming up, a little film bit for you later on. So what else have we got for you today? Well, we've got about recipes on my channel. We've got a little Friday film club, little clip. We've got questions, Q&As, quiz, quote corner, and much more. So do stay watching and see what else we will get on to as we go. But let's get today rolling straight away. And we're going to start today with this. Mr. Colin Waffles has come to say hello. Ooh, ooh, hello to everyone. Hello, 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 hello. So there's Mr. Colin Waffles for you. He's been in and out all day. And unfortunately, I need my lap now to give you what I'm reading you for story time. Are you going to stay there? You're going to turn the pages for me. Yes, you sit on my lap. I would be ready for you, but Colin came up. Okay, so the story time today, remember these are totally different forms of story time each time, and this is something a bit different for you. This is about tin toys. And it says, one of the greatest innovations of the world was toys at the beginning of the 20th century, and it was the tin toy. Germany led the field in toy manufacturing, and from 1895 onwards, production expanded rapidly thanks to technical advances and the introduction of mass production using tin plate, most of which came from South Wales. And I'm having a terrible time here because he's trying to get my hands, as you can probably see. A great deal of care and thought went into the design and manufacture of steam and clockwork boats, funnel liners, submarines, gunboats, battleships, carriages, and clockwork figures such as barber's rubbing cream into customers' scalps, violinists, butchers, chopping meat, men pulling carts. These are all toys, in case you suddenly think I'm talking about jobs. Yes, I know. I know you want stroking. So these are all toys. The toys, clockwork figures, barbers rubbing cream into customers' scalps, violinists, butchers chopping meat, men pulling carts, and soldiers. The range was vast. To make such appealing and attractive toys, the shape was first pressed out in tin and then soldered together. Oh dear, I can't even see the book now. Where are we? soldered together. Each toy was carefully tested before being hand painted and then fired to set the enamel. Some were then finished with an airbrush spray, and before being released from the production line were tested again very thoroughly to check that all the moving parts were working. The toys were then packed into wooden boxes filled with wooden shavings to protect the delicate mechanisms during transport to the toy shop. Some of the toys were very sophisticated and had elaborate working parts that were set in motion by clockwork, rubber bands, steam, hand cranking, gravity, electrify, flywheels, compressed air or gas contained in special cylinders. Steamboats really did have wheels turned by steam, and the airship, balloons and such things really did float through the air. Because all these toys reflected contemporary life, they had a particular appeal for children, and their parents were often delighted to buy such amusing and attractive toys. Many of the toys were intended to cause laughter. Tut-Tut was a car driven by an erratic driver of questionable skill who blew a little horn as the car zigzagged around the room. A lady riding in a horseless carriage tried with her umbrella to shoo away a dog that has jumped on the running board. And Rachel Ferguson recalled, "In the Teddington nursery of our friends the Foxes was a mechanical model of Joe Chamberlain. When wound, Joe hurried about the floor, making as much sustained progress in any direction as was unhappily to be the case at Munich." Some of the toys were less well put together and were not meant to last. The intention was to provide cheap and colourful entertainment to suit all pockets. Yes, because before this, obviously, it was only the very rich that could afford toys. Many of the novelty figures produced between 1895 and 1914 cost only a penny, and children could choose between fire engines, donkeys, carts, dogs, horses, nannies pushing prams, clowns doing acrobatics, balloonists, jugglers, drunkards trying not to lose their balance, strange choice for a toy, performing elephants, tightrope walkers, removal vans with stock of packing cases, milk floats with milk churns, farm carts with sacks of produce, railway vans and push-along vendors' carts with fruits and vegetable, bread and confectionery. Gamage's catalogue for 1910 shows metal sedan chairs, crawling beetles and walking crocodiles, cockerels pulling little carts, horse-drawn and horseless carriages, delivery vans, merry-go-rounds, dancing couples, magicians, railway porters and tricycle carts. Toy cars were extremely popular, the first ever being produced by Rossignol, a French company who made a toy Renault taxi in 1905. New models were quickly manufactured to keep pace with new fashions in the motoring world, and some even had windows made of beveled glass and doors that opened. Ships were equally successful and could perform quite complicated manoeuvres. Imagine the fun at bath time with a battleship or ocean-going liner being torpedoed by a sneaky little submarine that is hidden beneath the bubbles. So I hope you enjoyed that. Now Colin can have a big stroke. Yes, Mr. Colin Waffles. The problem is he's just had a big sleep, so now he wants lots of attention. Okay, let's go on to this section. So just a short quiz today, and we're going to do a quiz on, oh dear, a quiz on rocks and minerals. Rocks and minerals. Let's see how many you can get right of the 4. If you're watching this back later, don't forget to tell me in the comments how many you got right. Question 1. In which country is the Giant's Causeway? Obviously, if you're in the country of that, you will know the answer because it's very famous. So in which country is the Giant's Causeway? Question 2. What M is molten rock which cools to form igneous rocks? Which M is molten rock which cools to form igneous rocks? Question 3. What is the name for a stone which has had its edges worn smooth by the action of water? So I'll read that again. What is the name for a stone which has had its edges worn smooth by the action of water? And question 4. What E cannot be broken down into any simpler substance? What E cannot be broken down into any simpler substance? So we'll just do a quote corner for you while you're thinking about those, and then I will do the answers to the quiz. So let's take a look at Friday's quote corner. Hope you enjoyed that. That is from my garden. My wildflowers, they are absolutely everywhere, all over my garden. So let's get back to the quiz and give you the answers to today's quiz. The first question was, in which country is the Giant's Causeway? And the answer is Northern Ireland. Are you tired still? You've just had a big sleep. Question 2. What M is molten rock which cools to form igneous rocks? And the answer was magma. Question 3 was, what is the name for a stone which has had its edges worn smooth by the action of water? And of course, it's pebbles. A pebble. Yes, that's the name of one of my cats. I'm sure if you didn't get that right, you're kicking yourself now. You're probably thinking too difficult. And the final question was, what E cannot be broken down into any simpler substance? And the answer to that is element. Did you get all 4? Let me know if you did. Okay, let's go on to this. I like that little tune. I can get mambo in there with that. Had a little dance there because I didn't have to prep anything for this section. So the question of the day is, I was looking YouTube today. Now, I don't ever bother look at my analytics or anything else, but they've got lots of new features there. So I thought I'd just go and have a look and see what's there. And you can find out much more interesting things. Of course, there's still a lot of the same things you could always see about who's watching, where they come from, their age range, and so on and so forth. But go and have a look if you've got a YouTube channel. There's so many more fun things you can discover on your channel. It's very interesting. I don't know if any of you had it rolled out a long time back, because I'm always the trial person for Cyprus, because there's not many YouTubers. So I get a lot of new things before other people do. I'm the trial for this country. And something I had that now everyone has, so you might have had it a long time, I don't know when they actually rolled it out, was you can actually go through any video, even a short. You can see how long it was before people stopped watching. So all those who are clicking thumbs up and saying I did a full watch and all that, if there's not even like anybody that they mark on YouTube, you've got to think, So do check that. But with that, you can see, for example, if you have ads, or if in your video you promote a product, you can watch who fast forwards. So you could have so many viewers, let's say 30 viewers to make it simple. You could have 30 viewers, then you start showing a product, and you can see then if people switch off or fast forward. And the reason you'll know it's fast forward is 30 people disappear, then 30 come back a bit after the ad. So, all right, you could say, well, that's 30 more suddenly watch and 30 stop watching, but that's what that is. So if you do products, see if you've got that on your analytics, and it'd be very interesting to you if you're promoting a product within your video, how many people fast forward. So do take a look at that. But I was looking through them just to see what new analytics they've got on there. And one thing, no, they have had this a long time, but I've never looked at it. The age range of your viewers. And mine's always been a bit varied, but obviously a main bracket of people who maybe moved to another country, so they might be a little bit older, or people have set up a new life, or homesteaders. There's mostly a certain age range. And they've got a block now. The age group is, I'm just looking on my board, there's one age group is age 55 to 64. And my analytics now tell me that 100% of my viewers are age 55 to 64. Now, it doesn't say subscribers, it's viewers. So if you are not age 55 to 64 and you're watching, it's my main channel I looked at, so that's New Beginnings, My Everyday Life in Rural Cyprus. If you're not age 55 to 64 and you're watching that, then can you let me know? And also, if you don't already watch it and you're not in that age group, can you go over to my other channel? And I want to see if it does really change. Now, normally it's a month behind, but if you are either older or younger than the age span of 55 to 64, please pop on my other channel, New Beginnings, My Everyday Life in Rural Cyprus. I think you've got to watch a whole video for you to be basically included. It won't be people switch on, switch off. But I just want to see if it is fact, not fiction. So let me know. And I will have to go on this channel and just have a look what age range you are if you're watching it. So tell me in the comments if you aren't that age group or if you are that age group. And that was interesting. And my main watched YouTube channels are, my channels are mostly watched. My top 3 channels, I'm watched in Cyprus and I'm watched in America is my biggest foreign country, and India. They are the top 3 countries that I get viewed from on my other channel. So as I say, I will have to go and look in this one and I'll get back to you on that one. So I just thought that was a bit of interest there. Okay, let's go on to this. Now today, the film footage I'm going to share is from my garden, all in my garden that you'll see filmed. It's only short, and this is B-roll. Now, I love filming and photography, particularly B-roll. So I'll literally go out in my garden, walk around and film some footage of, this is a mixture of different things. So have a look at this. If you don't know what B-roll is, it's basically when you see, for example, someone's video, they're talking about something, and then they just do a little interlude bit almost of just spanning round with the camera, maybe some trees, some birds, a little bit of an animal walking by. Those kind of things are B-roll. Now, there is actual pure B-roll. Pure B-roll is no music added. So it's classic or pure B-roll is no sounds added, rather than just sort of showing your property or spanning around your garden or watching birds fly by, you know, these kind of interlude things. So what I'm showing you is pure or classic B-roll from my garden. So I'll just pop over and pop that up for you. So that is actual raw or classic pure B-roll, and that's what you see often in obviously people's videos. Normally a lot of people put it in to make their video long enough to get their monetization and put in more adverts than normal. So yes. I don't mind a bit of B-roll. I use tiny bits in between some changes of what I'm talking about, or if a cat has walked by. But to make your video full of it is too much, unless you're making a video, which I always title those ones B-roll. So those who like that and hear the natural sounds, then that's great. But not to say a video is something else and then more than half of it ends up being B-roll. Particularly, I watch some chateau videos, YouTube channels, and there's two of them particularly, and you can guarantee in their video will be scanning like with a drone their chateau, but it's only a tiny little chateau, so you see the same shot again. So that gets monotonous. That's the case of when you shouldn't use B-roll. So there's that. Oh, we see in the chat we have our friend Shirley from Glitterworld. Hello to you. And guys, go and check out her channel. Okay, so my promotion this week is my playlist on both of my channels, and it's my playlist for my recipes. And I have recipes on this channel, a playlist, and a playlist on my other channel, New Beginnings, my everyday life in rural Cyprus. So do go along and check out those. And the reason I'm promoting it is someone recently happened upon one of my recipe videos and said, oh, you should do more recipe videos. So I'm like, I have done tons over both my channels. So that is why I'm promoting it, to get it out there. I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't go and look at playlists. Whenever I find a new channel, it's the first thing I do. No, it's the second thing I do. The first thing I do is go on what used to be the about section. Now it's just at the beginning, you have to tap on the little arrow and I find out about the channel. The second thing I do is go and look at playlists and see what sort of subjects they're covering. So if you don't use playlists, it's a good idea to do playlists, particularly if you do many different things in your channel. Some people think my main channel is just a growing channel. It's far more besides that. Apart from my frugal life, there's many more concepts to it, hence why I've got playlists. So do check out playlists, and this is to ask you to have a look if you're interested in simple, frugal, no cost, easy recipes. This is where you need to go. So do check those out, and don't forget to drop a comment and say hello if you're there, so I know what recipes people are more interested in. And my final segment for today is this. And the question I've got on my card today is, do you remember your first girlfriend or boyfriend? My first boyfriend. I've talked about in infant school, which is the first proper school you go to. I've talked about how I was friends with a boy and he had handcuffs, and every playtime we would play that. Proper boyfriends, let's talk more about that, because I've talked about the sort of school days ones. Proper boyfriend, I think I was 16. if we're talking proper boyfriend. And he was someone I went to infant school with, the first proper school. And he didn't come. I was in high school, obviously. He didn't come to my high school because it was girls only. And I lost contact with him. I knew of him from infant school and junior school, which is like middle school. I knew of him, but we didn't really have connection. Apart from his cousin was a female, and she was always my friend. So when I was, I think about 16, she had a party, and I think he was there. I don't remember. I think he was there at the party. Again, we didn't talk there. I was busy with my group of girls. And then I can't remember exactly. I think she came to school and said he'd see me there and he wanted to know if I wanted to go out with him. And I said, well, yes. He was a nice young man. I said, yes. He was always a nice child. And nothing more came of it. And I just said to her something I hadn't heard from him. She said, I don't really see him very much. And then next thing, there was a letter through my house where I lived with my parents, through the letterbox. And basically the letter said, like a long handwritten letter, which is odd for those days even, particularly from a boy. And the letter said, I'm round the corner. There were shops round the corner to my mum's. I'm round the corner there. If you can, I mean, how he knew I was home, I don't know. But if you can come round in the next 15 minutes, I'll wait. If you don't come, I'll know you're not actually interested in going out. So don't worry, not a problem. So now this is the funniest bit, and I don't know why I remember this. I was wearing jeans and I thought, oh, that might not look very good. So I took my jeans off, I put a skirt on. Now, it turned out when I got round there, he was wearing jeans and he said, oh, you wear skirts. I've always seen you in jeans and I always like that. And, you know, that you're not trying to be something, which obviously I did try to be that day. So from then on, I always wore jeans, but that makes me laugh that I kind of thought, oh, I better put a dress on when I had jeans on. I was only meeting him around the corner. Anyway, so I put jeans on, I went round there and he was really pleased I was there. Oh, he said by the bus stop, by the shops. I knew where he was. And he was round there. I think he had his dog with him. Can't remember if he had his dog with him. He'd walked his dog. He didn't live too far from me, but he had to go quite a way past my house to meet to this meeting place. But I guess it was an easy place to meet, and he wouldn't look odd hanging around the streets, maybe. So yeah, met up with him. I remember he had this leather coat. Shirley's laughing. I remember he had this big, like, biker leather coat. He wasn't a biker, but he had like a really big, good leather coat. And I remember the smell of it. Maybe that's where my love of leather jackets comes from. And we were talking for quite a long time there. And he said, do you want to put my jacket on? Well, I wasn't cold as such, but I was like, oh, yes. So I put it on and he put his arm round and he was quite shy about that. And when he put his arm around me, this is how shy he was, bless him. He put his arm around me and he said, I hope you don't mind me putting my arm around me, but I've hurt my leg a little bit. Isn't it sweet? Yes, so sweet, says Shirley. It was so sweet. Now, he might have hurt his leg, who knows? Because he wasn't very forward. Anyway, he said, if you do like me, we could go to the pictures, the cinema. In England, you call it the pictures. Go to the pictures and smooth kid. Shelley says smooth kid. We could go to the pictures if you like. So I said yes. And what was the first film we saw? Oh, what's the guy's name? Oh, The film was Silver Streak, which is about a train. And I think Canada have them too, and America, not England. The great big huge train things, and some of them have two floors, two decks, whatever you would call them in a train, two decks. And it was about that. I can't remember the name of the blooming actor now. I so know him. He's the guy with the really big moustache, American, loads of sort of action films in those days. If you say it, I'll know it. Burt Reynolds. Was it Burt Reynolds? Might have been Burt Reynolds. I'm confused now. And we saw that. I remember that. But in between going out, there would often, and I mean very often, maybe once a week, there would be a handwritten letter through my door, and it'd be really long. It was like he was too shy to say words to me, but he did them in a letter, and they did seem very heartfelt. That they weren't kind of like cheesy. They'd be like, oh, I really like your jacket. I thought that was really nice. It looked nice on you. Just normal things, but he obviously couldn't say things directly to me. I kind of wish I'd kept them all now. They were so sweet. But when you get another boyfriend, you know, you don't keep things like that. But they were so sweet. As I say, long, long letters. A bit of letter. Gene Wilder. Yeah, we saw lots of films with Gene Wilder. That's him, Gene Wilder. I don't know how often we went to the pictures. George Caldwell. No, not him. Gene Wilder, we saw lots of films. Yeah, we saw a lot with him in as well. And luckily, I like those sort of films. I think it'd be awkward for a boy that age to see sort of more girly films anyway. So we saw a lot of films. As I say, kept writing in between, long, long letters. They were really lovely. He had an older brother who I didn't know very well, but my nan knew his older brother because the older brother, he was, I don't know what you guys call it in other countries, we call them dustmen, like refuse collectors, I guess. A lot of people say refuse collectors, we called them dustmen. And he was on my nan's, where my nan lived, on her route. So she knew him really well. And she said, oh, he's a lovely lad, the older one, she knew. And when I said the young one who I was going out with, that's when she said, oh, I know his older brother, who I didn't know. And then one day he invited me round to tea. And he didn't have a mother. It was just his dad and the two brothers. And you could see they'd tried, bless them. And as you know, I don't drink tea. And he said, I hope you drink tea because that's all we've got. So I said, yes. I think we were as sweet as each other, really. Anyway, we went out, I don't know, a good few years, I would say, at least 2 years, which for that age was quite good. And then he said he was going to look to see if he could have a job in London. And he went to London, a certain part in London called Soho. Now, I don't know if people out of England know of Soho. It's like a Chinatown type of place, Soho. I'm sure you all know Chinatown in America. And in the olden days, way back to my nan's generation, which I'll come into this in a minute, it was very not sleazy, but you wouldn't go there unless you had to go there. It was quite dangerous at certain times. You certainly wouldn't have gone there at night. That kind of place, you know, and obviously lots of Chinese and lots of stories came out of things that happened there and whatever else. Anyway, he went there. And I never heard from him again. And I just left it. I'm the sort of person, if, say, a boyfriend doesn't come and you give them a chance and they just don't come, I'm not chasing people. I don't think, where are they? And I would have thought if something had happened, his brother would have told my nan, but it turned out my nan was moving at that point, so she lost contact. Anyway, one day, it went on quite a long time, and I said to the cousin, who, you know, the girlfriend of mine that was his cousin, and I said, because remember, she didn't hear from him very often. So I said, oh, have you heard from him lately? She said, oh, yes. She said, I heard from my uncle, the boy's dad. He went up for this job in Soho and disappeared. No one ever heard of him again, and they couldn't find this place where he'd supposedly gone for this interview. It didn't exist. They went up there looking. Now, that's a bad story, but if you know, on this channel, I've got a playlist where I'm reading my nan's autobiography. What, Fossil? Come up then. There she is. There's Fossil. Yes, I nearly finished Fossil. So I'm reading my nan's autobiography. And I didn't know this story till I've started reading out bits of it and recording it. The same thing happened with my nan and a boyfriend of hers. He got offered a job in Soho. He went up to Soho and he was never seen again. Now, isn't that like, wow? And this is obviously years and years later. So I thought that was quite strange. And it's funny, reading my nan's autobiography, there are so many things that are the same in mine and my nan's life. It's really, really awesome, in not a good way, but yeah, all those years later and the same thing occurred. So anyhow, my hubby's back now. I've just heard his car come in. I don't know if you could hear it or not. So Fossil's gone to see if she's going to be fed. So I will love you and leave you. Do drop a comment if you're watching this back later, so I can personally come and say hello to you, because I like to say hello to everybody who gives their time to watching my channel. And as I say, do go and check out Glitter World channel. She does some awesome lives. And I will leave you there, and I will see you live on Monday on my other channel, New Beginnings, My Everyday Life in Rural Cyprus. If you don't know what times my lives are, then go over that channel, subscribe, hit the notification button, and you should be notified when my lives are. So until then, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all. And until next time, keep smiling.